Hi everyone, welcome to the Super Achievers series. In today's episode, we have Pranay along with us. Pranay has actively moved, Pranay has transitioned from a recruiter's role into a business analyst role. And in today's episode, he's going to give us more insights about how easy or difficult this transition was. So this will be, an encouraging, motivational video for most of you who are planning to transition into a business analyst role, but there are some fears that you have within you that's stopping you from making that transition. So welcome, Pranay. Welcome to our Super Achiever series.
Hi, Sajana. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present myself here.
You're welcome. So, Pranay, tell me what was your previous role and what were the primary responsibilities that you handled?
Right. In my previous role, I was working as a recruiter. I would say some sort of a proxy product owner, where my majority of my role was team management. I also played some part of a Scrum Master. And it all revolved around the recruiting unit. So the challenge that I was facing is I had very little knowledge about the technical world or the technical projects that I was looking into. My last role as a title, it was as a recruiter, and I would say more about team management, advising the recruiting team, working along with the team technology team who worked closely to build assets or recruiting assets for us.
Okay, great. So tell me, why did you decide to move into business analysis? From recruitment, why business analysis?
Right. Number one, traditionally recruiters always get paid below the average, I would say market. That is what we see. I faced a challenge while I am based out of Pune. Every company that I used to interview, I always face challenges with my salary or the growth in my salary. The second thing is the jobs in the market was also a problem, and that actually led me to find opportunities other than recruiting or which would match my what I would say background or the domain knowledge, and plus I could get into a role which is not very technical, so away from coding. So I was looking at multiple opportunities. I thought about project management. I thought about Scrum Master at a time. I also thought about business analyst. Now the challenge again, while I was looking for a product owner or a project manager, and a Scrum Master, was they still wanted somebody who knew at least some part, if not completely, at least 30 to 40% knowledge of the technical world. And I thought, if that's the case, I thought business analyst was one career opportunity which gave you some knowledge about the technical world also, and it also needed a lot of background and base for communication, which is our main skill as a recruiter. And that's how I thought that, let me go ahead and explore this opportunity and see whether I can get into jobs as a business analyst.
Okay. Were there any challenges that you faced when you were planning this transition?
Absolutely. So whenever I applied for the roles, number one, I never got calls because my background was absolutely different. Number two, even though I applied for roles as a business analyst for HR transformation roles and all, I always faced a challenge. Number one, with the specific title that I had. Number two, the role was not as defined as what they were looking at. So what I found out is, if a generic business analyst can still make it easily to an HR transformation role as a business analyst, but for a recruiter, it was always difficult. Number one, that was the challenge. Then the second challenge, while I was looking or hunting for institutes, who train me, the challenge I was facing was institutes would just train you towards the certification. So while I completed my Scrum Master certification, they only trained me towards the certification, but I didn't really have any role plays, or I didn't exactly know what what the Scrum Master would do when he's on a call. They would say that, okay, this is what he would run. I never ran it myself. So those were the challenges, and that's when I came across your institute and the training program where they mentioned that it's not towards. So you had 3 different programs, out of which I chose the Diamond program, which was not towards the certification, but it was towards the role.
Yeah.
So that made more sense to me. So why? Because there are a lot of people in the market who would not have certification, but they know the exact role, and then you can give your certification by yourself. Yeah. But if you give a certification and you know nothing about the role, it makes no sense for you to, or you have a fear in your mind when you're going for an interview, because you know that, okay, you possibly may not be able to answer a lot of questions that may come your way.
Because then you actually struggle with the on the ground implementation.
Absolutely, because you would still be able to answer the questions which are mentioned in the book. But there are so many scenarios that you may come across while you're actually on the job. You don't know about them. And in the interview, the panels are more interested about the scenarios that you come through, the real life examples that you would that you have been into, and the solutions that you gave. Because something within the book you can always still read and give a solution, but 90% of the role is on your real life experiences and the hurdles that you come across. So I think that is what I actually was able to get into the Diamond certification at your role. So before I joined, I would say I had zero confidence. I would say I wouldn't say I had zero knowledge, but I had zero confidence to present that. When I joined your certification and I started going through your training classes, I think that is the time when I started gaining confidence that, okay, I will be able to get into this role, and yes, I will be able to do it. Because the role plays that we did, specifically the Scrum Master certificate, the Scrum Master workshop that you took, I think, where I was able to play as a Scrum Master, where we did those Scrum meetings, we did a retro. I think we also did a PO planning. So I think that was the time when I got more confidence that, okay, I will be able to do it. Then the role plays there where you gave me, where I, as a business analyst, I had to ask questions to you. As a business analyst, I had to fill the BRDs, FRDs. I think that made more sense for me to think that, okay, this is what is actually required, and now when there are questions, I will be able to answer them. Otherwise, usually in the other workshops, with other institutes, you would only know what a BRD is. But they mention, have you actually written a BRD? Okay, and what were the challenges that because no BRD is complete in one go. There'll always be to and fro. So what were the challenges? Did you write them? How did you think beyond a point? Did the PO come to you for any negotiations? Did the client come to you and say, no, I want something more? Did that actually happen? So I think that is something that I actually learned through this workshop. Obviously, there's much more that you would learn while you're on a job. But for a fresher, where if you have to compare in between 2 institutes, where one institute only focuses on the certification and an institute which trains you towards the actual job, and certification is up to you whether you want it to be primary or secondary, I think makes more sense, at least to somebody who comes in as a fresher. And I think that is what this Diamond certification at your workshop helped me.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. So the scenarios that we discussed in the class, the role plays were actually very beneficial for you.
Absolutely. I think that makes more sense. It was, at times we actually felt like it was an actual project. So that gives you more, more confidence.
Yeah.
And the other reason why Diamond Workshop helped me is because while we were on a one-to-one session, I would never hesitate to ask you the stupidest question.
Yeah.
And you knew, so right from the first day, you knew where he is at, whether he is at -10, he's at -1, or he's at +1, and where we need to take him. So I think when I joined your workshop, I would say as a business analyst, I was at -10. So for me, I think the goal was at least to reach to 1. For someone at -1, his goal may be to reach at 5. I think that's how these interactive workshops helped me more.
Yeah.
Because if I would have been a part of the other workshop, maybe I would have only focused towards the exam, or maybe I would have been competing with other people who would have been at different level. It would have put more pressure on me. Maybe if I would have been a business analyst or an entry level business analyst and joined that, the other courses would have helped me. But then at the level that I was specifically, the diamond workshop made more sense.
So that's great. So this is one thing that our students tell us about diamond certification, that it's the role plays, the constant interaction with the coach that helps them a lot.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole aim of this program also. Right now we are running it in a batch of 5 to 10 students together, and we make them do a lot of role plays, a lot of activities. So because we believe you learn by doing it, rather than just giving you a book and you studying something and then appearing for an exam. Doesn't make sense, because business analysis skills only develop through repeated practice.
Absolutely. And also, after, I think it's been a month or month and a half that we've completed the course, but then I think the sessions still go on, right? We still get invited every Friday or alternate Friday for whatever sessions you hold. So the good part about I would say our collaboration is that even though the course is over, we are still connected. So I think that makes more sense. Building a community here. So where I would say it's like a college. It never ends. Once you're associated with the college, you're associated with them, and they still keep calling you for every other event.
Never stops at our end.
So I think that is one thing that I felt really good. So although when my course was complete, and you mentioned that don't worry, I'm still there, I was still a little scared that I've heard that with other institutes that we are still there, but I've never heard anybody coming back. But here I get invitations every Friday that this session is coming up, be prepared, make yourself available. So I think it helps you more. You still get connected to people, and I think why it is more important is because once you get a job, you feel that you've achieved your goal. But I think staying connected with the group is more important, because you will still need changes in your job. You will need suggestions from the people that you're looking. You will possibly be able to help your community once you have a job. So that cycle needs to move on. So I think I'm really happy with I would say the after service. I would say more than the service, because usually people will always give you the service when you pay them. But I think it is the after service that I'm more happy with, because even after the course is over, I'm still getting invitations for the workshops that are going on. So I think that is much more, that is adding much more value. So even though the courses are over, or my actual course is over, I think every Friday there is still a refresher. There's a new topic that you come up with. There's a new guest who comes and joins us, and he helps us with his views. So I think that is really exciting. I haven't come across any other institutes who actually go to that length to advise their community or their students, because I think that is more important, because there'll be new technologies coming through. There'll be new expectations every year, and you need to be updated with those expectations. You need to have those discussions, and you need to be updated. Sometimes you become very rigid. That the way when you start growing, you start becoming rigid. So that learning needs to be there, that this is where the changes are required, and you need to change along with what the industry requires from you. So I think that is also something that you have inculcated, or at least a practice that you've is there. So I think that's something which will be very beneficial for anybody who joins the course.
So that's really nice, because I had built the community with that particular view in mind, that kind of vision in mind, because when I started off my career, I did not get any support at the initial stage of my career to grow in the business analysis. And I understand what turbulences you face. Sometimes even after we start working on a project, there might be a particular concept that our mentor has taught us, but we have just forgotten it. And we need to apply it then and there in the project. So that's a reason for these refresher sessions. So every week there's a refresher session. You can just come over and refresh your concepts. If there is any specific doubt in your mind, you can come and ask in that particular class.
Correct.
There are experts in that sessions also, so they can share their insights. We have had several students, senior level students, who are coming and they speak about the insurance industry, and
Correct.
some are financial experts. So that adds a lot. And our business analysis journey, it's a journey where learning doesn't stop. Our technology
Absolutely.
changes, our customers' businesses changes, so the business changes are so rapid in the market, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
that's the reason we need to continue learning.
Correct. And I think that's a very good initiative. I think I don't see a lot of institutes, or I have not come across any other institute with such initiatives. You would only have your trainings, and then you will get some flyers here and there at times, but then invitations actually to join the workshops is something which is very different here.
So, Pranay, you have already got the job of a business
Yeah.
analyst, and this month you'll be joining a top MNC as a business analyst, right?
Right. Yeah, and thanks to you. I mean, I remember calling you before the interview when I was very, very scared. I think there was a time when, although we went through the workshops and everything, there was a time when I felt like I forgotten everything and I was very scared. I don't know, but yeah, I think that the interview preparation was very unique. So other than what exactly a BA would need, you actually taught me what questions can come, or you made me focus on the skills that I have rather than the technical skills, and you said focus on this, and because this is your skill, don't try and showcase anything about this workshop. Try and showcase what you have, and try to put it into the business analyst shoes and try to think like that, and this is how you need to present yourself. I think that was very good, and I think it really made a lot of difference, at least in the first interview, because the first interview was very difficult. I remember I calling you up and also mentioning that I don't know whether I've cleared it or not. But then yeah, I think it made a difference because I was still able to present a lot of my skills the way you actually told me. So I think it made a lot of. I think a lot of credit goes there as well.
Okay. So in your new role, Pranay, have you got a hike in your the previous CTC?
Absolutely, yeah. I've got a hike
that you've got.
I would say somewhere around 50% or so, 40 to 50% hike.
Okay, 40
in my 40 to 50. So I was lucky enough because I got a job into my same domain, as a business analyst. So the domain knowledge actually counted a lot to them. Okay. So I got this hike. But then one thing for sure, there are a lot of requirements in the market where you need BAs and the transition from a BA to different fields. So usually once you land up into this job and if you're able to prove yourself, salary usually is not a problem then. Yeah. So I think that is one thing that I learned. Usually with recruiters or so, there will be specific companies only which are ready to pay you, and that too in specific locations. So when it comes to roles like business analyst, I would say it is in competition with how the developers and all go, right? When it comes to salaries. So irrespective of the locations, wherever you are based, you can still find a job. As far as you have the skill, you will be able to draw the salary of your life. There will be a lot of companies who want to hire for such roles. So I think you are always in a better spot, in terms of a career.
Yeah. So it's good to hear that you are using your previous roles, the skills that you had in the previous roles, the skills that you accumulated over the years.
I think fortunately there's a good change in the market. In the last 5 years, I think COVID brought a lot of requirements for the recruitment and HR also to think about getting new applications and newer systems in the market, which has got this change. But then traditionally I think business analysts always, the requirement for a business analyst were always there. Yeah. So I think now is the time, after I think pre-COVID and within COVID, I think there are a lot of other industries also which had to think beyond their traditional ways, where they used to actually use pen and paper, they now have to build systems. So I think the people of those, I would say, domain knowledge there also have started building more sense. So I think for example, I think when previously recruiters wouldn't be able to transition into HR transformation, but now systems that have started building up like Workday, SuccessFactors, now they also, as a recruiter, you having knowledge about, even if you have knowledge about using it as an end user, so you start thinking in those terms, okay, what better I would have done into the system. And then you start thinking like a business analyst. So I think now the domain knowledge is also, for such roles, have also become very critical. And that's how I think it helped me.
So a lot of our students coming exactly from your role, Pranay, as a recruiter, they have these apprehensions as to why will any company consider me for a business analyst role? What kind of skills I bring to the table as a recruiter, and it is these fears that hold them back, that they never apply for the business analyst roles.
Correct.
Can you help us map some of your previous skills that you will be utilizing in a BA role?
Yes. So number one, I would say, is communication skills. So recruiters traditionally always ask questions. So I think it always helps us build more questions and think into the lines of a business analyst. Secondly, the systems that we use, more or less, all the systems, or I would say, let's say, as a recruiter, they would be using ATSs, applicant tracking systems. Mostly all the ATSs would have a same baseline. So what you require is somebody to apply to the job, and then what you require is somebody taking an offer through the system.
Correct.
So the patterns or the fields would be different, or the names of the fields would be different, but then the protocols or the layout would somewhere be similar. And then when you have knowledge about those ATSs, I think you would be able to think on those lines, okay, what better would you be able to build? So that knowledge obviously helps. What you require is a course where you would start knowing, or you would know how and what a business analyst does. And when you are able to collaborate both of them, I think you have a very good chance of getting into that role. Obviously, if you are able to draw a job within the same company, it becomes much easier rather than finding a job outside. With me, I was laid off, so I had no choice then to find it outside. But then, traditionally, I would say getting into a course like this, thinking like this, getting a certification, and trying to push for a job within the same organization would make more sense. But then, there are a lot of other organizations which would still consider you outside as well.
That's really nice. That sums it up well.
Yeah, so no need to fear there, I think. But what is more important is getting into a course where you are able to draw, or where you are able to play that role rather than just go towards the certification.
Where you are able to leverage your previous skills and utilize it. That's when your previous experience also gets counted, right?
Absolutely. And also, what is more important is if you are able to be on a project. So even if it is a demo project, if you are able to be a part of a demo project, you exactly know what's happening then.
Correct.
Then you are able to answer those questions, and you are able to get that confidence that, okay, I've done this. I faced this scenario. I know what this answer is. Rather than just thinking bookishly, okay, this is what the book says. He said, the book says a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what exactly happens on the floor is different.
Yeah.
So I think that is what this course gives us.
Okay. So for all our viewers who are coming from exactly the same background as Pranay, from recruitment background, there are key skills a recruiter can use to transition into a business analyst role. Like Pranay already mentioned, but let me sum it up. Communication skills, your probing skills, where you are very good in formulating those questions. As a recruiter, you need to ask questions on an ongoing basis to stakeholders to understand what kind of positions and what kind of candidate profiles have to be given to the stakeholders, what kind of candidates should be hired for those open positions. Then problem solving and analytical thinking, very, very crucial in a business analyst role and very crucial in a recruiter's role also. These are some crucial skills you bring to the table, plus your knowledge of ATS. So if you are being hired to work in one of the ATSs where you will be doing a business analyst role, then your knowledge of ATS systems will also be leveraged in that role.
Right.
So thank you very much, Pranay. Thank you very much for this interview, and we wish you all the very best, all the success in your career.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sajana. Thank you for being the backbone of this journey. And looking forward to have a lot more conversations with you, because we'll always be connected while I'm into this role now.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you so much.
Welcome.